It's New Year again, and one great thing to do at the start of the year is to put together a bit of a reading plan for yourself. What do you want to learn about? What do you want to read? What do you want to enjoy and be stimulated by in the year to come? And a lot of people do this. They put together a list. They might have an aim to read 50 or so books a year, but I think it's also good to have a bit of an aim to not just read the usual thing that you read, but also to read a little bit more history this year. And not just the same, like tired old names like Arnold Toynbee or Oswald Spengler or Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, but current day history by really quality historians that have a bit of a more global, transnational world historical perspective. And I'm really recommending in this video that you add a few history books to your pile for this summer in Australia and this year wherever you are in the world. My name's Jeff Rich. This is the Burning Archive, where I try to help you reimagine the world with quality history. And on the channel soon I am going to be doing a video on 10 tips to identify good books for you to read, good quality current day history books to read, how to choose something different to perhaps what you would normally think to buy or that you might first find when you walk into a bookshelf. That video will be coming out soon, so make sure you like and subscribe so the algorithm will do its work and find you, and also share my video with more people. It really does help me on the channel. That video might even be out already, depending on when you're viewing the video. But in this video, rather than tips or specific books, I thought I'd address the first question to ask, which is really why read more history? It's good to start with why you're doing something first, isn't it? Why choose history books for your reading plan? I've got 5 reasons I want to share with you. First of all, history is not what you've been told. It's not what it was when you went to school, whenever that was. It is a lot more interesting. It's a lot more diverse. It's not bound up just in national histories. It's not just about dead white men. It's not just about big events. It can be biographies and all sorts of wonderful different perspectives. Everyone can find something they're interested in contemporary written history. The second reason is that truth is stranger than fiction. A lot of people will read fiction, and fiction, especially historical fiction, can be a great way of learning about the world and empathizing with the world. I'm on my Substack doing a slow read at the moment of this brilliant historical fiction book by Olga Tokarczuk, The Books of Jacob. And if you'd like to be part of that slow read, where we read 1 chapter a week over 32 weeks, it's a 1,000-page book about sort of Eastern European history in the 18th century. Absolutely fascinating. If you'd like to do that, just join me at jeffrich.substack.com. But truth is stranger than fiction, and often the stories that you read in history are more peculiar, more real, more strange, more idiosyncratic than anything that just comes out of the imagination of the author. And that's why people like Olga Tokarczuk or George R. Martin in the Games of Thrones, chooses to draw on history to build their narratives in the way in which George R. Martin used the kind of War of the Roses stories to inform some of his plot in the Game of Thrones. And if you choose some different kind of history, you'll be introduced to the strangeness, the weirdness, the variety of human experience in a way you won't get from fiction that inevitably draws on common stories, common legends, common tropes, common genres. Yes, history breaks every genre. The third reason I would say is that non-fiction often gets history wrong. It often relies on simple versions of history for its theories and its ideas. This is very common, for example, in geopolitics and international relations studies. I know many of my viewers on the channel are interested in those kind of topics. Scholars like John Mearsheimer in the whole realist school of international relations is really based on a particular version of history that may or may not be true. And certainly that many historians have offered different versions of these days. And I've talked a bit about that on the channel as well. But you also hear it in psychology. You'll also see it in a lot of journalism and standard discussion about politics, all often common cultural analysis. There are a lot of acquired assumptions about what the West is, what Western civilization is, how we came to be in the modern world that we are in today. Those assumptions are often based on history that good historians today are questioning or offering alternative accounts to. The fourth reason I'd say why you should add some history books to your pile for 2025 is that it helps you change perspectives on the world. And it helps you change perspectives by helping you hear and really listen to the authentic voice of the past. Now, if you're having a conversation with someone, you actually want to really listen to them. History is a conversation between past and present. In a way, all our lives is a conversation between past, our present, our memories, our childhood, all that kind of thing. And good quality history helps you actually hear not just the voice of the historian, but the actual voice of the past. You can use good quality history books to discover memoirs, letters, novels, other works of art, all sorts of things that will give you a real feel that you can actually read yourself and get a deeper feel for how other people lived in the past, what it was like to be in their shoes, and how that helps you change your perspective on the world. The best histories, I think, do not suffocate you with theories and the opinions of the historian. They let the real voice of the past come through their books. And then finally, I think history helps you lead an ethical life that helps you find some kind of wisdom by living in tune with a changing world. It's a phrase used by the Indian External Affairs Foreign Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, in the preface of his book, The India Way, and he quotes an ancient Tamil poet, Tiruvulluvar, who wrote that wisdom is living in tune with the mode of a changing world. It's not just about understanding what's going on in the world, it's about adapting to that world in a wise way and in an ethical way. History isn't just a story of progress, it isn't just a story of doom, it isn't just a story of mastery of events. It's the story of all our attempts to come to terms with the changes we see around us in the world, and to do so in a way that's ethical. That is the theme of a wonderful book by Priya Satia, Time's Monster: History, Conscience and Britain's Empire, that I'm writing about on my Substack at jeffrich.substack.com. And if you'd like to learn more from history, to learn to live in tune with this changing world, and to get weekly book recommendations from me about some of these books of history that you can add to your 2025 reading list at any time during 2025, and guides to great history, then join me there at jeffrich.substack.com as a paid subscriber, and even as an angel of history, where you have even more conversations with me about how to live in this challenging world.